Now, if you're here to look at my nose ring, well, too bad. Today, we're not going to talk about a nose ring. What we're going to talk about, what we're going to focus our attention on, is how Team ONIC put the ring on top of Evil Sergeant. Back to the nose ring. This is actually not a nose ring. This is supposed to be there to help me breathe. Yeah, it'll actually open up the sinuses. That's neither here or there, ladies and gentlemen, because we have a jam-packed event. We have a jam-packed video to talk about. So without further ado, let's quickly jump into our first footage. Now, this is going to be ONIC versus Evil Sergeant in the grand finals of MPL Indonesia. Now, what we're going to do is focus on the first 2 minutes of all 4 games because ONIC took a 4-0 sweep in the grand finals. You expect the teams are going to be closer together in skill on the stage of grand final, but it turned out ONIC so much better in this aspect. Now, obviously, at least the way they performed. At this rate, if they go to MSC like this, they actually posted real threat to take the entire championship of MSC, but not until the Ohio brothers pull up, ladies and gentlemen. So, let's take a look at first game because it's very important for us to talk about the early game. Usually from the way how a team played the early game, you get an idea how they actually play the entire series. And you will see an easy pattern of how ONIC is able to set a game plan and execute on the game plan. All right, the first game, we're going to have Kyrie. And by the way, Kyrie played 4 different characters. The tanky characters like the Grok also played Assassin. The first game, we're going to have the Assassin Fanny, right? And then we're going to have the Assassin Lancelot later on. But let's take a look at the first rotation. Right off the bat, we're going to have mid lane contest from both sides, just to clear the lane. And now Keyboy is going to try to contest this Lethal Wonder. You know what's interesting? I don't see much team contest Lethal Wonder anymore. It's very interesting that team don't do that. But on a keyboard, decided to stay here to kind of bait the other side for it. Without jungler, they cannot take it very fast. Now, the way how I want you to look at the first 2 minutes is look at the first 2 minutes, because that's the early game. Not by time, but by minion waves. Because every 30 seconds, we have a minion wave. And you want to look at, okay, the first 4 minion waves is going to clash, at around 2 minutes, especially the last wave, it's going to clash at 2 minutes in the center of the map. So how do each team take care of those waves is how they execute the early game. So in the first 2 waves in the mid lane, you can see that it's been pretty even, but with ONIC, Keyboard poking Evils quite a bit, and now gaining the map advantage, pressuring Dreams away. Now rotating toward the top side. The reason for this rotation, not really to do much top side, it's just to gain a little bit of pressure, because knowing that Dreams is there and he want to match the lane. Every time he has the opportunity to poke, he poke and walk away to make sure he doesn't receive counter poke, right? But it's been pretty even with CW have a slight advantage on the top side. Do I say Brenz just cannot win lane? I don't know. I don't think so, right? But CW is doing a tremendous job. And I think he's one of the best 1-1 players in the entire MPL Indonesia. Look at Keyboy. I think he might play a little bit too aggressive sometimes, but that's what he does. He goes there, he gets vision, he maintains his distance, and jumps away. He has a skill too. He has the flicker, so he jumps away. There's 3 seconds before the turtle spawn. Look at the position of Boots, right? Look at the position. This is the last wave, the 4th wave. This is the 4th wave now, right? The 4th wave. Now, the 3rd wave, Kaja and Lolita will burst topside, right? And now the 4th wave, look at Kaja and Lolita, right? They're both in the middle clearing this lane. Whereas the EXP laner, what do I say? Echo likes to do best, right? Stanford is always at this position or somewhere here just to bait out or poke the enemy jungler, or maybe the entire team, depending on who shows up. So if you take a look right here, right now Boots is already in position to gain the team the advantage. And when you play Glue, he plays towards the win condition of this character. So Glue can 1v2 in a way, right? Even 1v more because of the fact that you have the ultimate that can kidnap somebody on top of them. So the more you hit Glue, the more you hit your teammate, which is not something you want to do. And in this case, Glue was being an absolute monster. See, he camped in the other bush and he come back a little bit later, a little bit further down. Just when Evils try to move up, now Boots has to, lock the position onto Taz and he jumps in. He has full passive right here, but knowing that everybody's so tanky, and he poked him away, buying Fanny a lot of time to actually contest, do both buff, do the red buff, come back to the blue buff, and then move on to the turtle. right? I mean, at the same time, Boots got Taz so low where he's now going to go back to jungle, and now knowing that Keyboy is providing vision at enemy jungle the whole time, right? The whole time. So Keyboy knows exactly where Lancelot is, right? He moves out slowly, inch by inch, right? Kind of like how you're trying to make a left turn or right turn, inch forward in the intersection when you're driving. That's exactly what Keyboy did, right? Inch forward, get a little bit of direction, right? That's exactly what you do. It's like when you're trying a little bit of something different with your girlfriend. You don't just go balls deep, right? You try a little bit at a time. You know, that's exactly what Keyboy did here. So very, very good job on the execution. And now, let's see, poke, poke, poke until team ges ready. Now ult, right? Really, really good patience coming out from one of the best tank players in the entire MPL. Like I said, all the tank players in MPL, the good ones, all play similar. Yaoi, Keyboy, right? You name a few more. They all play. You will go back and watch how they play. The team have a very similar trait is the engage always have to have a follow-up. So Keyboy could have ulted the tank earlier, right? Lancelot earlier, Taz. Instead, he decided to wait a little bit, wait for the team to be ready, and then poke first, and then use the ultimate when the time is right. Now, with that being said, let's take a look at the second game, you know, to see if there are any similarities compared to the first game. If the first game some team does something, it might be a coincidence. But if the second game somebody do something similar, that tells you that's a trend. Right off the bat, you can see ONIC, leveraging the fact that they have held up, is going to walk through a different way. You know, to poke Taz, to threaten him away. Meanwhile, mid lane, because Sans is playing by himself, he's playing a little bit more passive, but still able to clear wave pretty safely with 2 skill 1s onto the wave, right? And now let's take a look. This is the first wave, remember, right? And the second wave, Sans goes in, knowing Keyboy is ready, they synergize and did a little poke and bait out the Purify, did a lot of damage onto Farsa and bait out the flying, you know, wins by wins on Farsa as well. It's just really, really clean early game. This is now the second wave because the early poke Sans did onto Hijumi, right? He's able to now clear wave, has lane prio, go back to home, retain some mana if he needed to, which he doesn't really have to, but, you know, he could. And now Kyrie come back and get the little, you know, crab on the top side. Level 4, right? Look at this engage right here. Because they baited out Diggy, well, Diggy actually went to the bottom side. They got a lane prio into the mid lane. Kyrie and Keyboy now make a rotation to the top side. This is 1 minute and 20 seconds. And you will notice that ONIC and some top teams like to visit the top wave, the gold lane, quite often at 1 minute and 30 seconds. 1 minute and 30 seconds is a third wave, right? You know, whatever you prefer. Third wave, 1 minute and 30 seconds. And then they make a rotation to the EXP lane. You know, sometimes it might be different, but a lot of time that's the trend that I found. This is very important because ganking the goal lane in a really good manner allows them to provide so much pressure, right? And give their goal lane, which is the most important lane in the game, so much advantage in the early game, so much snowball in the early game. And you will notice in this particular game that the Keyboy actually stayed top for a little bit longer. You know, he did not move or go anywhere, even though Turtle was coming up at 14 seconds. That's just a strategy that they chose to go with this particular game, even though they have Lancelot. Lancelot is really, really good at secure, right? But there are 2 factors that probably play into this. This is now the third wave, which is going to the turtle fight, right? Bottom side, Lapu is already in position, you know, and then obviously this is communicated. Boost knows this, right? So Boost probably communicated that with the team because he's forced under tower. And same with Sans, right? He's forced under tower waiting for wave. So you're going to have people getting out-rotated by a set of Evo. So they decided probably not to fight this turtle and just go topside and camp this Moskov one more time, knowing how weak Moskov is. And let's take a look at the second time, right? Even Kyrie, look at him, right? He made a rotation towards mid, but he decided to come topside as well, right, on the minimap. But little did he know, ONIC didn't really need his help, and they got the kill onto the marksman directly. And now he has vision on the red buff. He decided to take the red buff right away, giving the turtle away, but now still putting himself at 1.4k ahead. Even after a turtle, you will see that ONIC is still 1,000, over 1,000 gold ahead compared to their opponent. It's actually 1.3k. Well, this kill was unfortunate, but even after that kill, it's still 1.4k gold ahead. And that's tremendous amount of gold, right? That's a lot of gold early game. And now Sans feel free to rotate wherever he wants. So that's the second game that we can take a look, you know? It's just a very, very really good, really clear early game execution. I think a lot of teams like really should learn what you can learn from ONIC more than like a more generic game plan. Like every game, the third minion waves, let's go to the gold lane. Harass fourth minion wave, let's go to the turtle. Adapt on the fly, and this adaptation is made before the game started, right? You can kind of see like this is a clear game plan that's executed, where Hilda decided to stay top side, right, in the team for the team to screw up the Moskov, right? They gank the gold lane in the third wave, find the opportunity to kill the Moskov. Well, that's the window of opportunity. Let me just stay there and do it again. So very good execution from the side of ONIC. Let's take a look at third game, early game. Again, we're going to analyze all the early game to see if there's any similarities. Unfortunately, I think this is the second game. Oh, actually, the third game. Yeah, I got it wrong. Yeah, this is now Keyboy being the support, being the not Sans, being the freaking Kadita. Now, this Kadita, you will see like he actually walked in the enemy tower and get himself killed a few times, which is quite interesting. Evil is doing something similar now, right? Getting the vision, now rotating toward the jungle. Very interesting that they decided not to take this camp. They could have, right? But it's not too much of a... they decided not to do it, right? And it come to bottom side and get himself in trouble, which is not the best, in my opinion, right? Like, they could have stayed in the middle side because that will actually deter the marksman from rotating, and then didn't put himself that deep and just get that objective, put that minion into the bush and get it. But decided not to do it, and now... Farsa even make that mistake of giving like 1 HP, still stay in the mid lane, and which gives Sans a free kill. Flickers go 2-2-1, easy kills. Very interesting decision there from Evos. I think they just made a pretty bad decision, right? But this is now the second wave that just finished. You can see right now at this point, ONIC has a clear win in early game, right? This is where Keyboard just killed himself. I don't think we want to take a look at it because I don't know. I don't know what to look at right here. And Brands didn't even auto attack. He didn't even get 200 gold, which is the worst part, right? And now Dream's going to go ahead and shove the wave, right? And then just camp right into this bush. Now, this is 140. The fourth wave is going to come up. Dreams now have an option to try to get level 4, right? Because it's going to be way ahead of Keyboy after Keyboy kind of killed himself on the bottom side. But I think this game, they didn't get level 4. Now let's take a look at ONIC side's rotation, right? Grok is on the bottom side, clearing the small camp, and now he has a decision to make. Do I go bottom side? Do I go to the turtle? I'm Grok. I have the early game advantage. He killed a small camp. He decided to come to the bottom side, and then somehow 7 seconds before turtle, which is quite interesting. Let's get himself level 5 close to in the early game, right? Now, because of so many people in the mid lane, right? Taz in the mid lane, Farsa in the mid lane, Dream is going to be level 3 only. Whereas if you take a look at Keyboy, he's going to soak the entire wave all by himself because this is a standard play from the side of ONIC, right? You have Boots now in position for the turtle, and the mid lane going to the top side, getting the wave. Now Grok makes his way into the team fight. Doesn't matter. I don't know if this is the correct play coming out from ONIC, but I would say carries everybody because of the formation that they have, because of the discipline that they have. The team definitely bought carry a lot of room. Even with tank jungle, as tank jungle, the Grok at 150 into the small camp on the bottom side is, I was about to say, it's very uncharacteristic, right? Because when you play something like Grok with really high execution line, with your skill 1, with your ultimate, plus retry, it's not something that you expect to go to the opposite side of the turtle pit when turtle spawns for the fourth wave, for the minion wave. You should be there when turtle spawns, so you gain the lane advantage or use a quad control to initiate a team fight. But that's not something we saw happen, right? So Grok now slowly making his way to the turtle. Let's take a look, right? Because he was a little bit late, but Boots has minds of his own, right? He just goes in, he doesn't care. Look at this, right? Boost is buying his team so much time. Carry did an ultimate here and missed everything else, right? So what did Carry do here? Not much this particular game. And I don't think that Carry should stick with Grok because it's so good with all this different assassins. Lancelot assassin, Fanny assassin. Every assassin you get his hands on is Gali, Hayabusa, right? So he played Grok. I think that's one of the lowest win rate character he plays in the entire, even back in M4. When we were scrimming. And then Onyx, one of the scrimming partners that we have, they've been absolutely fantastic to the North America community, right? But unfortunately, you can see that Carry in that particular scenario just wasn't providing much. And if you look at the entire game, he's not going to be able to provide much, right? it's mainly the rest of the team that did an incredible amount of work. Same as the first turtle, right? How did they get it? Well, you already know, right? Boots was in position and stands dominant in mid lane. Bottom Keyboy was doing pretty well as well. Now, let's take a look at fourth game, right? Is there anything different? Now we have a Hayabusa on the table, you know? CW was playing Harith. After all marksmen got banned away this particular game. And let's quickly go forward to this first wave. First wave, because Keyboy is on Chow, they already have the lane advantage, right? And Keyboy is now getting vision, knowing exactly where Lancelot is rotating. He's probably telling his team, by the way, Lancelot is going topside. Look how slow it takes Sans to clear this wave. And because it's taking forever to get this wave, Keyboy now is going to be a little bit behind on level 2, you know? Or actually, he's ahead because Lane's winning. He's going to get level 2 ahead of him, right? Because Farsight somehow was still clearing wave, probably get the first minute a little bit earlier. So he got level 2 slightly earlier than Dreams, and Dreams so low. You know, luckily he does have the skill 1, so can save that flicker there. So let's take a look at second wave. Now, because the support is gone now Fars has the lane prior, so he's zoning the Valentina away. And the bottom side is even, top side, pretty even so far, right? But obviously, CW doesn't have more lane pressure. And Chow, being, you know, the good old Chow, good old Keyboy that he is, gonna keep on zoning, keep on threatening Taz farm, make sure he doesn't get level 4. This is now the third wave, right? Hayabusa is gonna be level 4 now. And Lancelot is still not at level 4 because Chow is always on top of him, right? Because early game support, the job, if you get vision on enemy jungle and you have the ability to constantly get on them without dying, that's like the best. That's like the best. That's why MPL Malaysia like to play Hilda, right? Because, you know, a hack or they like to do that because Hilda can do that to the enemy jungle if your team doesn't do anything about it. Look, Keyboy just constantly harass Taz and just be a nuisance, right? Why not? Because why not? You know, now the last wave coming up. Let's see if Keyboy rotate to the center to get us to level 4, right? Let's see, he saw Grok right here. They're about the same level. And they're actually progressing about the same rate as well. Hayabusa is waiting for the blue buff. But look at Boots, right? The fourth wave, before the turtle shows up, Boots is in position ready. While Farsight's on the bottom side. Do you see a deja vu, right? It's the same formation every game on the early game. Very disciplined. This is just straight up simple stuff that every team is executing. The top team from MPL Philippines, the top team from MPL Indonesia. And yet, most of the MPL teams are not doing this, right? I don't know why. Now, that's why it's something that you can learn from all these teams. Look, this time, because Hayabusa is taking the blue buff, there's not too much that Team ONIC can do, right? They only have 2 people here. Farsight came late as well. You know, because they were not shoving the side lane fast enough. You know, so they tried to contest it, didn't get it. But now, Hayabusa's ready, right? This guy's ready, right? Look what he does. A lot of teams don't do this, by the way. A lot of support are really afraid to initiate a team fight. You gotta understand, you should always be looking, but just try to engage when your team is ready and always test the limit of how much damage you can do, right? Look at Chow. He's constantly on top of the entire enemy team. He did a little bit of damage, got harassed, and just when he saw an opportunity, when the team's ready, he jumps in. Why is that? You're wondering, okay, how did ONIC able to open up the tiny advantages, open up the tiny little bit of, you know, gold advantage in early games, slowly snowball? Why Echo is able to do the exact same? But Yaoi and Keyboy plays very similar. They're very opportune type of players, right? And they're very aggressive. See, Chow is a character really mobile, can dodge a lot of quad control. You have a lot of dashes. You have a lot of, you know, you basically is a really, really good overall character. I'm actually surprised why this character not played even more. But you can see that Keyboy right here, right? He's dashing around. He's in the front, just getting vision on the entire 4 members of Evos, right? And then obviously he got pushed under the wall, but he's still looking to engage. But he's not engaged anytime. He's waiting for the Valentina. And now Valentina shows up, immediately goes in, calls the team to it. His team is ready in the mid lane, ready for the opportunity. And he gets the kill. And that's something really different when you're ready for the opportunity, right? So very, very good job here from a side of Chow. I've set up Keyboy, and they show you how ONIC play early game. Yeah, we can give up Turtle if our team is ready. If our team's not ready, especially in this case, they're highly prioritized on carry's farm. They understand when carry play higher, as long as you give this guy farm, he's gonna solo carry. So Turtle's not important. They didn't even contest it, right? You just boost. He was in position, but he cannot do much since he didn't have mid lane or jungler, right? But now let's take a look at this engages right here in the mid lane. You know, Grok was full HP, kind of. Actually, 75%. It started off from Farsight doing quite a bit of burst damage and Kyra going in for the finish. And by the way, when you have an assassin on your team, kind of like Hayabusa and Ling and Fanny, you will frequently see good teams, their laners trade. So provide opportunity for their assassins to actually be very effective, do a lot of damage, right? Get a lot of kills early game. Because if you early game assassins like Hayabusa, like Ling, they don't really do much. You know, they don't really do much by themselves. So if it requires a team to do a lot more damage to provide more room for them to come here and just finish it off. So again, Kibo is doing, being sus as usual, kind of like last game. But it doesn't matter, right? And the entire ONIC team is so good. Some mistake like that is okay if you're willing to play really aggressive. And that's exactly what the side of ONIC did. Kibo played really, really aggressive. So that's the early game. And let's take a look of one team fight I think that I want to show you. Let's take a look at game 3. How about game 3? Because a way how you team fight is also a great example of how a team set up their formations going into any scenarios, right? Because that shows communication, that shows execution. And early game is all about that because if you're able to communicate, execute, the simple discipline, that's exactly like what your team is going to give your team a lot of advantages. Now, the clip that I found earlier, I think wasn't showing up properly. So let's take a look at this exact second turtle, at 4 minutes. Okay, so you got Dreams and you got Hijumi into the bush. Now Kaja obviously not Kaja, Keyboy knows this. So who's waiting for the opportunity, right? Waiting for the dive at any time. Who's calling the team for it. You can see CW actually rotate towards the middle because the 4-1 formation is actually quite important. You don't want a team to be largely separated. So there are 4 people on the top side turtle and now, CW in the middle lane. So when the call going on Kaja was called, you can see CW immediately throw the skill because they're in sync. Even Sense was looking to jump forward to help out as well. Now, obviously, Sense got killed right here, but you can still see the synergy coming out from the entire side of ONIC going to how to engage. And Taz left with 1 HP, able to survive here because Boots just got a little bit too aggressive. He didn't do much damage to a tanky character like Martis. But nonetheless, Grok still got the turtle. What did Kyra do this team fight? Absolutely nothing, right? He just got the turtle. The team actually cared a lot, show you like everybody. ONIC is a very disciplined team, and they offer Kyrie a lot of room to do what he needed to do in order to carry the game. So I hope this early game analysis helps you guys understand the pattern, like a simple game plan, about how to execute each minion waves, right? The first minion wave, second minion wave, get the advantage and then rotate enemy jungle, harass, like what Keyboy does. The third minion wave, try to go to the goal lane, gain more advantage, right? For your goal lane, open up the map a little bit further if you know what enemy jungles are. The fourth minion, when I say goal lane, I mean minion wave actually. The fourth minion wave, that's when you actually take position, right? Is your mid lane to the EXP lane getting experience level 4? Is your support in the mid lane getting experience in level 4? And is your EXP lane screwing up the enemy jungler, right? All of those adding up is a good game plan. Now, obviously, it's not always like that, as we mentioned, because a lot of times it's really just based on your early game. Do you have an opportunity to do something different, do something kinky, do something unique? And that's exactly what ONIC did with the Hilda game, right, with the second game. So, again, I hope this game is helpful to a lot of you guys watching. A lot of teams looking to improve in NACT, a lot of teams watching going to MSC. If you enjoy it, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn that bell on to all notification bells. With that being said, Ascendave signing off. I need to go practice how to breathe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.
Just for the thrill of it, nothing counterfeit.